first time uploading a video. Very nervous, but we shall see how this goes. It's a very, very rogue setup at the moment. I just have my camera on a box of yarn. But hey, I am a knitwear designer after all. So thank you for joining me on this video. Welcome. My name is Cynthia and you are watching the first video that I'm uploading for my project Knit Together, an exploration of a textile exploration of multiculturalism that was inspired by my son, who is of Chinese and Scottish heritage. I was trained as a knitwear designer, specifically for fashion fields and fashion sector. I've had experience working for very local London fashion design studios, as well as bigger international fashion brands and high-end fashion houses. And then I moved away and stepped into the haberdashery and handcraft market. I then also involved myself in a lot of product development for hand knitting yarn and hand crochet products and kits for beginners. I host a whole range of workshops for beginners because I think everyone should have the experience and the opportunity to learn how to make something with their hands. And one thing that I was really interested in was the idea of combining very distinctive textile design culture and background together. And this starting point came from my son when he was born in 2023. So I am from Hong Kong and I am Hong Kong Chinese. My partner, he is Scottish, British Scottish, English Scottish, but we are raising our son in Scotland. And I really felt that there was an internal struggle of how I might want to bring my son up in terms of language, in terms of culture, and what that could be like for him growing up. So I thought, why not use my background as a textile designer to explore that in a more visual and exciting way? And that's how this project came about. I applied for funding with Creative Scotland, and there was a few rounds that I've done it, but it is now, I was successful in one of the most recent rounds, and this is my first video to showcase to you my journey on this project. It's a bit of a long one. I thought, it is a trickier video to do because it's going to be a lot of talking at the camera and I'm not necessarily doing a lot of other actions, where later on in the whole series there would be a lot more actions and activities that you can see. I thought that it would be fun to show you some of the machineries that I've purchased for this project, namely specifically my knitting machines. So I currently have a chunky gauge home domestic machine. That's about like 2 or 3 gauge. You can use sort of double knit yarn, Aran yarn on it. Anything thicker than that is a little bit trickier. You get 110 needles, but I only had a flatbed. I wanted to get the ribber attachment for it as well because the potential flexibility and it just opened up a whole host of other type of textured fabric I can create. But I also wanted to get a smaller gauge machine. I previously had one, but I had to sell it when I moved away from the country. And I actually had a ribber attachment to that as well. So I was looking through eBay for a few options and found that, there tend to be a lot of people who are clearing out relatives' attics and they found all these knitting machines. And it's always a treasure trove on eBay. The only issue is you have to make sure you find ones that has been serviced recently and it's from people that, make sure the sponge bar is serviced and that it's either new or that, it's not just sagging. Make sure the needles are, most of them at least, you know, are in good condition and not just, or the latching element of it is like broken off. We want to make sure that the machine has been oiled recently as well. It's not all dusty and just got clunks of fluff in it. But yeah, so the standard gauge is about 7 or 8, and you can use anything from like lace weight, which would obviously create a much thinner fabric and sort of holier fabric. Sports weight 4-ply, which is fingering weight. And then also, if you set the tension up to the highest, at number 10, you can possibly get away with some double knit if it's on the thinner side. But that's about it. You're really pushing that, and you would be creating a very tight and stiff piece of fabric. But I just thought having 2 options with both standard gauge and a chunky gauge, you know, I just open up the possibility for myself a bit better for this project, especially when it comes to a lot of potential fair isle and fair isle designs, and, you know, like any type of pattern work that is inspired by a combination of Celtic and Chinese decorative motifs. Just having those options as well, and which means both of these machines have punch card functions as well. I'm just going to be opening up my machines today and showing you what they look like and explaining a bit better to you. But once I get them going, I will do a proper video so you can understand how the machine works and what I plan to do with them. So that was the chunky gauge ribber, and so as you can see, the top of it is exposed. There's no shell for it, there's no casing for it. So I thought the seller packaged it really well. It was really well protected, and lots of layers of cardboard and polystyrene and bubble wrap around it. And yeah, so now I'm going to open up the standard gauge machine as well as the ribber. You have your instructions. You have these. Wow. Oh. So for now, my machines are going to live in this corner, sort of next to each other. And as you can see, the size difference. So this is the chunky gauge. This is the standard gauge. It's much thinner, but actually the standard gauge has like 210 needles. So it's a lot more needles than the chunky gauge. And we have the chunky gauge ribber that is on the outside, stacked on top of the original, the standard gauge ribber that is still in a box, and it's in original packaging, which is incredible. So these are all the tools for my machines, both the standard knitting machine, standard ribber, and also the chunky ribber. As you can see, a lot of them have like all these hooked weights and a lovely bar for the knitting. And also, how funny is this? Read these instructions carefully, and it just says, simple adjustments the housewife can easily do. Really makes you realize who was the prime audience for knitting machines back then. Interesting. Anyway, here are the tools and the machines.